Introducing the Elestria Region, a huge monster hunting world filled with creatures called Elestrals. Now, Elestrals is inspired by Pokemon, of course, as well as the Legend of Zelda, Octopath, and many more games, and has now become a real-life TCG and soon to be brand new RPG as well. So let's dive in and check out the artwork for Elestrals. Now, while Elestrals is its own world, the typings of the Elestrals are similar but a little bit different to what we're used to. There are 8 elements and 8 spirits that we're going to soon choose, and a spirit is kind of like your starter. So let's jump in and choose our spirit. First is Teratlus, the Earth Spirit, and if you know anything about Elestrals, you've probably seen Teratlus before. He was like the icon that started the whole thing, and I think it is a really cool design. Of course, based on a rhino beetle, but it's holding some kind of elemental stone within it as well. Now, some of these Elestrals have their own entry. So this one says, unwavering in courage, casters bonded with the Earth Spirit Teratlus are resolute and steadfast in whatever matters they set their hearts to. These casters measure themselves through feats of strength and power. Now, as well as looking at the design of the Elestral, we're also going to have a bit of a look at some of the cards as well. I love looking at the artworks for TCG, especially full art cards, and we can see a few full arts here as well. And it kind of shows the Elestrals in a bit of a different light, which I think is really cool. Next is the fire type, and that is Vampiro, and we can see it's got the little fire element within its head as well, and all of the 8 starter spirits have the little element branded on them in some way, which you can keep an eye out for as we show you the rest as well. The entry says, fierce and unrelenting, firecasters and their Vampiro spirits burn with blazing passion. The only things as quick as their tempers are their tongues. Many are known to be cunning and persuasive. Our 4 cards for Vampiro looking really cool, but if you have a look in the bottom right, this is our first Stellar rare card. Now, a Stellar is kind of like a shiny version, and we can see obviously it has a different coloring there. We've got the blue flames instead of the orange flames, which are really nice. Now, within the upcoming RPG, Stellars actually have different abilities and features, as well as the color form change as well. Speaking of the RPG, Elestrals Awakened is on Kickstarter up until the 9th of November, so if you're watching this before the 9th, make sure you try and back it to get some exclusive features and get the game in production, because Elestrals Awakened looks amazing. I'll leave the link for that down in the description. Then next is Leviathan, the water type, obviously based on a dolphin here, but I love the giant fin that it's got on its head, as well as the fins out to the side as well. Really interesting. It looks like a little baby kind of dolphin, but the fins make it look quite large. The entry says, loyal and reliable as the tides, watercasters and their Leviathan are fun-loving and free with their emotions. Freedom and the endless possibilities of the open sea called to them. Some really cool artwork on the cards as well. We can see another Stellar version there, which has got some purples in it, which really work, I think, with the blues. But again, that full art looks incredible. I really like that top right one. Next is Zaptor, the Thunder type spirit. Now, this is based on a little raptor, but the lightning bolt tail is really cool. And if we have a look at those claws, some of those claws are really large. And definitely got that lightning bolt design throughout the claws, as well as on the whiskers and the crest on the head as well. Zaptor's entry says, erratic and volatile as the storms they adore, casters chosen by Zaptor, the thunder spirit, endlessly seek adventure. These wild individuals are notorious for never settling down and endlessly seeking whatever lies beyond the next horizon. Now, I think the eyebrows on Zaptor make it look like it's a little bit angry or evil in a way, but I think the bottom 2 cards looking really happy and really cute. It still kind of has like that baby element to it. Next is Lycaris, which is the wind type spirit. Obviously based on a flying cat here, the wings are really, really large on this. Kind of similar to what we've seen in a couple of other designs like the Leviathan. It's like a small baby monster, but then has some really large features. The fins on Leviathan, but the wings here for Lycaris, which are really interesting. Now the entry says, Lycaris spirits and windcasters are carefree and gentle as a breeze. Lovers of music and the arts, most would rather play and create than compete in serious clashes. Looking at some of the cards here for Lycaris, we can see that top right one. If you have a closer look, they've got some like colored stars and sparkles that are around the cards, and that's an ultra rare version of that card. So that top right Lycaris you can get with or without the rainbow sparkles on it as well. So if you're someone that likes collecting rare cards, you'd want to keep an eye out for those sorts of ones. Next is Flurmine, the Frost Spirit. Now this looks like it's based on a stoat with a nice like woolly coat or hood around it as well, which is looking really nice and cuddly. The entry says, contrary to the ice element as their command, Flurmine and their casters are caring and compassionate. Never wants to brag, this should not be misinterpreted as a weakness. They stand ready to summon the might of an avalanche in defense of those they hold dear. A couple of interesting cards here. That top right one, the full art one, it's really cool how it can like glow while it seems to be summoning those snowflakes, which is really cool. Next is Luminate the Solar Spirit. So a very different kind of typing here, but this looks really cool. Obviously based on a little monkey, but the glowing elements is looking really nice. Now the entry says Luminate and Solar Casters are a curious, light-hearted lot. Endlessly in search of fun and discovery, their charismatic nature is as bright as the summer day. Some really cool cards for Luminate as well. I think the sun setting design in the top left is really cool though. Our last spirit is our Loon, which is the lunar type spirit. Obviously based on an owl, which fits the lunar design being nocturnal animals itself. The large eyes are really nice, but also that tail kind of forming a crescent moon as well is a cool touch, I think. The entry for our Loon says, long to ponder and slow to act, the mystical spirit our Loon and lunar casters are the students of the unknown and arcane. Their endless search for knowledge and wisdom will never be satisfied. Absolutely love the full art here with those colorful sparkles as well, looking really, really nice. Now, I absolutely love owls, and I love the idea of a lunar typing, so I'm going to choose to be a lunar caster with our Loon. But let me know down in the comments which of the 8 starter spirits you're going to choose. Next, we're going to look at Sproutia, which is a ground type Elestral. Now, Sproutia is the first I'm going to show they can actually ascend, which is like evolving. The original spirits cannot ascend, but there's a lot of Elestrals that can. So first looking at Sproutia, which is based on a goat. The horns are looking really large, but that leafy, bushy kind of look along the back I think is really cool. We're going to continue to look at some TCGs for all of the Elestrals today. So Sproutia, we can see, I absolutely love the Stellar version here. I think the autumn colors really work for it. Now that ascends into Shadypenguinn, so now getting a lot larger. Obviously it's become bipedal, but what's really interesting, that bow and arrow are kind of formed as part of its hand, and we'll see in one of the cards later on that that bow is actually part of its hand. It's not holding the bow. Now this is obviously based on a satyr from Greek mythology, and the Elestrals world, especially the RPG, are based on Greek mythology as well. Only 3 cards here to show you for Shadypenguinn. Now we can see, especially in that bottom middle one, that that bow is just coming out of its hand, which is really interesting. And then the final ascension is Centaurba, so a very large centaur, very imposing, looks like it's very strong. But we can see that bow on the hand from the pre-ascension has now changed a lot. It's looking like a giant dangerous crossbow now. Some really cool full art cards here, but we can see in that top left one is firing arrows out of that crossbow on its hand as well, which is really cool. Next is Necruff, the fire type Elestral. I think this is a really cool design. One of the first that we see within the trailer for the RPG as well. It's got a skull look over its face. It's got some white flames all over the head and the paws as well. But the snake on the tail I think is a really cool look. I love that the Stellar for Necruff has got a reddy orange flame compared to the bluey white flame that it normally has. I think that's really nice. It ascends into Blazerus, so obviously it now has 2 heads and it's got 2 snakes for the tail, which is really cool. Still got the flames on the head and the feet though, which is really nice. The Stellar version is the same as the pre-ascension, having the red flames as well, which is really cool. And you might have guessed that the final ascension was going to have 3 heads and 3 snake tails. This is Trifernal, obviously based on Cerberus with a 3-headed dog. Some really nice artwork, especially that full art in the top right. Absolutely love that. But what you'll also notice, not within the original 8 spirits, but with a lot of the other cards, they have extra abilities now. So like a normal TCG, there's extra abilities and moves and different things that you can do. So if you want to pause the video to read these descriptions, you can, because I won't be going through them specifically today. But I'll also link the Elestrals website in the description, where you can have an in-depth look for all of the cards. But you can also have a look at all the Elestrals that I won't be showing you today, because there's over 100 and we just don't have time to go through them all, so I've just chosen some of my favorites today, which was a really hard job. Next is Hydrake, the wind type, which is looking like a little chunky dragon. It almost looks like it wouldn't be able to fly because of how thick it is, but I think this looks really, really cute. I absolutely love the black Stellar version. Like with shinies, I love black shinies, so having a black Stellar here is really, really cool, and just contrasts really nice with the white version that we'll normally see. It evolves into Twindra, so now we have a double-headed dragon. Still kind of chunky, but not as much as its pre-ascension. But we can also see it's become a little bit more vicious now as well. There's a number of cards that we'll see today that kind of have like a constellation form for one of their cards, like we can see in the bottom right here for Twindra, which I think is really nice. And just have that whole astrology, Greek mythology theme as well that goes throughout the entire region. Then lastly, that evolves into Pantera. So now we've got a multi-headed dragon, obviously based on a Hydra. It's got 5 heads now and just looks incredibly vicious, incredibly dangerous. Not something that I would want to mess with, I think. A new kind of card here in the top right, that golden sparkly hollow foil card is looking really, really cool, and is obviously a very rare card as well. Then next is Dratea, which is another ground type Elestral. Now this I think looks really cute, and this is actually combining dragons with dragon fruit, as we can see within the coloring there as well. Now I had to cover Dratea because the artist who created this Elestral is Zetastrokes, who I've actually worked with before on a previous region video. They created the Feral region, which I'll also link down in the description if you want to check out more artwork by Zetastrokes. But when I saw this while looking at Elestrals, I immediately recognized it, so I think it's really, really cool. I like that each of these 4 cards have something a little bit different to them. Like there's a golden ring on the top right one, and it looks really scared in the bottom right one. There's some really creepy hands coming out there actually and attacking it. And I think the yellow for the Stellar is really nice too. Now that ascends into Ladogan. So this is actually quite different to the Fakemon version that's in the Feral region, but in the Elestrals world, it evolves into Ladogan. We can see the dragon fruit seeds throughout the creamy color or the white within the chest there as well, which is really cool. We've definitely got some Greek mythology vibes in some of these cards here. We can see the caster in the top right definitely looks like they're dressed in some kind of ancient Greek clothing there. And in the bottom left, we can see the golden apples. So there's a lot of ties to dragons and golden apples within Greek mythology as well. Ursicle is a frost type, and I think this looks so cute. It's just like a little bear, but it's holding a giant snowball. But looking closely at its hands, they're actually frozen solid with some icicles there as well. I think the top right stellar card is so cute. How like it's a frost bear, but it's making a frost snowman bear thing as well. I think that's really cute. It evolves into a Abominursa, so now like the fur on their head is covering the eyes, which I think is really interesting. It's almost like halfway between the Abominable Snowman and a bear. Something that wasn't so clear in the original design over here, but looking at some of these cards, you can see it's got some ice spikes on the shoulder pads as well, which I think are really nice. That must be something they can sort of control, almost like a cat's claws, whether they protrude or not, which I think is really cool. I absolutely love its final ascension in Glaciersa. This might be one of my favorites that I've seen so far. Definitely looking very, very aggressive. It's got like an icy skull look over the face, but one of those arms is just like a giant icicle, I guess, for a weapon, like a giant arm blade, but a giant icicle, but it's still got like a bear claw on the other hand as well. One of my favorite Elestrals so far, but with one of my favorite cards. That bottom left one in particular with like an Aurora Borealis look around it. It's looking really aggressive. It's got a caster on its shoulder. It's using that giant arm blade icicle. Just phenomenal. I absolutely love that bottom left card. Next is Nimbug, the wind type. Now this line is kind of like your Route 1 bug that you would see, but this is looking like just a little caterpillar at the moment with a few wings on it to help it float and giving it that wind typing, which is quite cool. We can see it floating through the meadows and the wind in that top right card, which is really cute. It looks very happy, but the greeny, definitely bug kind of look there for the Stellar is really nice as well. It evolves into Charcoon, which actually changes to our first dual typing that we can see today. This is a wind and fire type Elestral now. We can definitely see those flame elements wrapped around the cocoon there as well, which is really cool. We can also see within the card there, we've got both the wind and the fire elements. So we're going to see a few dual typings here, but there aren't all that many really. That lastly ascends into Flamamoth. So keeping that wind and fire typing, we can definitely see the flame wings, the flames on the tails. Definitely got some cool inspirations here, I think. Flamoth didn't really look all that big and dangerous, but that full art card in the top right, that definitely looks really imposing and definitely looks like it's been angered. The flames are bright red and it definitely looks like it's looking over you as a caster. It looks really large here actually. Next is Pandacine, the ground type Elestral. Now this one doesn't ascend, it's just a solo Elestral. Now this is based on a red panda, but you can see it's wearing some kind of leaf mask as well. It looks like a masquerade kind of design, which I think is really cute. Some really cool cards here. I love this whole design. The whole Elestral is really, really cool. But I like in the top right that it's removed the mask and we can see the white underneath. So it's not like the mask is part of it. It can remove it if it wants to, which I think is really cool. Now, although it doesn't evolve, it kind of has its rival or its counterpart, I guess, and that is Pandalence, and that is a lunar type Elestral. Definitely a darker, eviler kind of version to the other one here. It looks like it's got a large cape, but even that mask is quite different. It almost looks like the Plague Doctor mask, having a really long nose, but the white there as well. Especially in the bottom left design, that definitely follows that design here. Next is Barabib, another ground type. I think this is really cute. It's merging a capybara, but also with a bib as well. And we can see that leafy design on the head, but also making that bib around its neck. Really cute Elestral here, always looking very happy, very cheerful, very playful, really cute. That ascends into Barabog, which is another dual type. This is a ground and water type now, which makes sense because capybaras are often associated with water. But we can see that grass growing all along the bottom of the body there. It's covered in mud on the top of its head and its paws as well. We can see hanging out in the water there in the bottom left, but I think the red's like that autumnal kind of color as well. We can see within the Stella is really nice too. And then its final ascension is Barabos. I am definitely getting Snorlax vibes here. Very large, looking very lazy. It almost looks like it's been laying there for so long that grass and moss has just grown all over its body. Now, while it definitely looks like it's just all about sleeping and eating, that top right one, it looks like it's sitting up and it definitely looks very angry. Maybe we shouldn't have awoken it. Next is Kraken, a water type Elestral. This is based on the Kraken, as we can tell within the name. It also looks like it's got a bit of an evil, angry kind of look as well. Only 2 cards here, but if we look at the bottom right one, it's got like a bit of a crown going on, which definitely alludes to its ascension. And that's because it ascends into Kraking. So we've got a very large Kraken-inspired Elestral here. I absolutely love some of these designs here. Definitely following that Kraken inspiration within that top right one in particular. As I said, it is huge and it is taking down that entire ship. Absolutely love that. Next is Kitemite, the Wind Elestral, and this looks phenomenal. I love spider designs when it comes to monster games like this. And I think the abdomen forming that sort of ghostly face within it, but it's also combining like the silk webs, but also maybe like a tornado as well, because it is that wind typing. I just think a whole bunch of really cool ideas coming together to form this Elestral. A really nice design. I think the Stella is really cool here because the contrasting colors is quite different to the original version of Kitemite. Like the yellows and the greens really stand out. That ascends into Parashne. So now the abdomen has got spikes on it, but the main thing is that it becomes a parachute. It is that wind typing, and that's because some spiders can use their silk webs to float on the winds, and that's what this spider is inspired by. This is definitely looking very deadly. I think that top right one, we've got the web. It hasn't got the parachute out, it's got the web. It's got some kind of prey caught in there as well. Then next is Nebuleo, the solar type. Now, definitely getting Solgaleo vibes here where we've got a solar-inspired lion. Those blue eyes are looking really, really cool too. Continuing with the Solgaleo vibes because the Stellar version is bright white there, and I think just the whole design is looking really cool. It ascends into Leo Bright, so now looking like a full adult lion. We've got some like fire elements, I guess, that have formed the mane, but I love that it's kind of flowing backwards. It's almost like perpetually in wind, which is really nice. As we've seen, every single Stella is really different to the original design, which is what I like. I don't like when shinies look pretty much exactly the same. So all of the Stellas have been really well done. And then the final ascension is Celestleo. Now this looks like an absolute beast. This looks so large, so imposing. All of the cards for Celestleo look incredible. I love that we've got the constellation design in the bottom right. I think we've got Celeste and Leo together. It definitely makes sense to have an astronomy design for a card there. Really, really works nicely. Then next is Fawnlet, which is another lunar type Elestral, obviously based on a baby deer, but those antlers forming crescent moons and almost like sparkling, I guess, in the moonlight is a really cool look too. The bright blue antlers, but contrasting with the black body of the Stella here is really nice and definitely fits the lunar vibe for this card here. That ascends into Theraheart, so now becoming much larger, almost looking like a more of an adult deer now. I think the whole vibe of this Elestral, kind of like within the dark forest at nighttime, especially within some of those Stellar cards there. There's a lot of like mysterious energy around this design and around this line. The final ascension for it is Posthumous, which is huge. I love this design. This definitely looks very important and very protector of the woods at night vibes, I think. Obviously based on a moose. Now, the huge antlers with kind of like stars and wispy parts throughout is really nice. The mane, almost like you're looking into the night sky when looking into its mane as well, with a glowing heart, which is really cool. It's got a spike on the side of it coming out of that star, and just a whole bunch of really cool ideas here for this incredible Elestral. I really like this one. Out of every single Elestral we've looked at today, this has to be the hardest for me to narrow it down to just 4 cards. There are some insanely good artwork for the Posthumous cards. These are some of my favorites, but my god, these are incredible. I love all of these cards here. But if you wanted to see some of the other cards for Posthumous or any of the others today, make sure you check out the link in the description for the Elestrals website. I hope you've enjoyed going through the Elestria region with me. Here's some of my favorite Elestrals and some of my favorite cards from today. Make sure you check out some of the links in the description for the Kickstarter, for the RPG coming up, or for just the Elestrals website in general if you want to get into the card game or just dive into the world of Elestria as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.